Leelamrita as it is. In this connection, we may call to memory the time when I was fortunate enough to meet His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, sometime in the year 1922. Srila Prabhupada had come from Calcutta to Sridham Mayapur to start the missionary activities of the Gaudiya Math. He was sitting in a house at Ultadanga when, through the inducement of an intimate friend, the late Srimad Narendranath Malik, I had the opportunity to meet His Divine Grace for the first time. I do not remember the actual date of the meeting, but at that time I was one of the managers of Dr. Bose's laboratory in Calcutta. I was a newly married young man, addicted to Gandhi's movement and dressed in khadi. Fortunately, even at our first meeting, His Divine Grace advised me to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English in the Western countries. Because at that time I was a complete nationalist, a follower of Mahatma Gandhi, I submitted to His Divine Grace that unless our country were freed from foreign subjugation, no one would hear the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seriously. Of course, we had some argument on this subject, but at last I was defeated and convinced that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is the only panacea for suffering humanity. I was also convinced that the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was then in the hands of a very expert devotee, and that surely the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spread all over the world. I could not, however, immediately take up his instruction to preach, but I took his words very seriously, and I was always thinking how to execute his order, although I was quite unfit to do so. Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8 and Text 8. Text 8, I will read it by myself. Sankhyayanah Paramahamsya Mukhyo Vivakshamano Bhagavad Vibhuti Jagada Sosmad Guraven Vithaya Parāśarayatha Brahaspate Cha. Translation. The great sage Sankhyayana was the chief amongst the transcendentalists, and when he was describing the glories of the Lord in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, it so happened that my spiritual master Parāśara and Brahaspati both heard him. Text 9. Provacha Mahyam Sa Dayaluhu Uktaha Munihi Pulatsyena Purāṇam Adhyam Soham Tavaitat Katayami Vatsa Shraddhalave Nityam Anuvrataya Provacha Mahyam Sadayalurukto Munihi Pulastyena Purāṇamadhyam Soham Tavaitat Katayami Vassa Shraddhalave Nityam Anuvrataya. Mahyam Sadayalurukto Pulasthena Purāṇamadhyam Soham Tavaitad Katayami Vatsa Shraddhalave Nityam Anuvratayam Soham Tavaitad Katayami Vatsa Manuvrataya Vachamahyam Sadayalurukto Pulastya Purāṇamadhyam Purāṇamadhyam Soham Tavaitam Katayam Vasyam Shraddhalave Nityam Anuvrataya Provacha said, Mayam unto me, Saha he, Dayaluhu kind-hearted, Uktaha aforementioned, Munihi sage, Pulasyena by the sage Pulastya, Purāṇamadhyam the foremost of all the Purāṇas, Saha Aham that also I, Tava unto you, Etad this, Kathayami shall speak, Vatsa my dear son, Shraddhalave unto one who is faithful, Nityam always, Anuvrataya unto one who is a follower. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: the great sage Parāśara, as aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulastya, spoke unto me, the foremost of the Purāṇas, Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. Please repeat. The great sage Parāśara, as aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulastya, spoke unto me, the foremost of the Purāṇas, Bhagavatam. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The great sage of the name Pulastya is the father of all demoniac descendants. Once upon a time, Parāśara began a sacrifice in which all the demons were to be burned to death, because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. The great sage Vasishtha Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parāśara to stop the deadly action, and because of Vasishtha's position and respect in the community of sages, Parāśara could not deny the request. Parāśara having stopped the sacrifice, Pulastya, the father of the demons, appreciated his Brahminical temperament and gave the blessing that in the future he would be a great speaker on the Vedic literatures called the Purāṇas, the supplements of the Vedas. Parāśara's action was appreciated by Pulastya because Parāśara had forgiven the demons out of his Brahminical power of forgiveness. Parāśara was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice But he considered demons are so made that they devour living creatures, men and animals. But why, on that account, should I withdraw my Brahminical qualification of forgiveness? As the great speaker of the Purāṇas, Parāśara first of all spoke on the Srimad Bhagavata Purāṇa, because it is the foremost of all the Purāṇas. Maitreya Muni desired to narrate the same Bhagavatam he had heard from Parāśara, and Vidura was qualified to hear it because of his faithfulness and his following the instructions received from superiors. So Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from time immemorial by the disciplic succession, even before the time of Vyasadeva. The so-called historians calculate the Purāṇas to be only a few hundred years old, but factually the Purāṇas existed from time immemorial, before all historical calculations by the mundaners and speculative philosophers. Dasansta Bhaktivedanta Purpoto Madhyanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamy Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from the chapter Manifestation of Brahma from Vishnu. So here Maitreya Rishi, he is explaining how Bhagavatam has reached him. And he was mentioning how Lord Sankarshana has spoken Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumara, and then from him Sankhyayana Muni, and from him Parāśara and Brihaspati both heard him. In the 8th shloka, that's what we have read. Parāśara anyada Brihaspatescha. Parāśara and Brihaspati they have heard. And then Maitreya Muni is saying, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Parāśara. Provacha Mahyam Dayalur Ukto. So he is referring to Parāśara as Dayalu, the kind-hearted sage. And he was advised by another great sage called Pulastya. Munihi Pulasyena Purāṇamadhyam. So as advised by Pulastya, Parāśara spoke Bhagavatam. And then here Bhagavatam was referred as Purāṇam Adhyam, foremost of all Purāṇas. So here he is saying, Katayami Vatsa, I shall describe unto you, my dear son, as I heard, Saha Aham Tava Aitat, as I heard from my spiritual master. Why he wants to speak? Because Shraddha Lave, you are very faithful to me, and also Nityam Anuvrataya, you are a faithful follower. So, of course, we are now currently in the age where everybody is trying to create a lot of followers for himself. There are platforms available now to create some followers. Increasing jana are followers. Nadhanam najhanam. And once Prabhupada was asked, who is a true follower of Krishna consciousness? The interviewer says, he asks, how would I recognize a true follower of the Krishna consciousness movement? By his behavior. what would his traits be? What would his outward expressions be? Then Prabhupada is saying, he will be a very perfect gentleman. That's all. You could not find any fault in him. So if you see, Prabhupada is defining a true follower of Krishna consciousness means he is a perfect gentleman. Follower has to be recognized by his behavior and his character. Followers are not counted in terms of numbers. More numbers means that Guru is more influential. We consider like that. Let us say you want to purchase a product, you will see how many people have liked it or recommending it. More. If there are more people who are trying to recommend that product, then we'll also become inclined. So, but Prabhupada says many times, I do not want thousands and thousands of stars. I want only one moon. What is the use of having thousands and millions of foolish followers? It is better to have one moon who can spread the cooling moon rays in the society. So, a true Krishna conscious follower, he is so pleasing that people want to listen to him, associate with him. So Prabhupada wanted such true followers. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had many disciples and followers. But Bhaktisiddhanta, he had one true follower, one true disciple in Srila Prabhupada. And by seeing Srila Prabhupada and his behavior, his day-to-day lifestyle, many foreigners, they got attracted to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. And then of course we all know Prabhupada has created a worldwide movement. And he created millions of followers. Of course, in the beginning, the followers will just come to know what is Krishna consciousness, and then slowly they will become more and more serious in following. So, initially they follow maybe once in a week, once in a month, and gradually they become more serious, and then they will become Shraddha-lave, faithful. They develop faith. Yes, there is something here. If I chant or if I practice, if I understand, it is looking real, it is appealing. He becomes Shraddha-lave. And then Nityam Anuvrataya. He is not a follower, a weekly follower or a monthly follower. He is Nityam. Nityam means every day. Anuvrathaya. So, one simple definition of a follower is, a follower should follow a Mahajana. He should follow a leader. This is the definition. A true follower follows a leader who is highly advanced in Krishna consciousness. In our Hare Krishna movement or Krishna consciousness movement, the leader of the Vaishnavas the leader of the Krishna consciousness movement is Srila Prabhupada. And then we all follow him. And as we follow, we will also become, we will also get a responsibility of leading some more people. The followers can go around and preach to people and bring them to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. He acts as a servant of Guru to lead beginners in the path of Krishna consciousness. Once Prabhupada defines a follower means one who creates more followers of the spiritual master. This is a practical definition for us. We are all in the beginning stages. So, a disciple or a Vaishnava means he is very eager to increase the followers of the spiritual master, increase the followers of Krishna. This is. He is very eager. So here Vidura is being glorified as Shraddhalave Nityam Anuvrataya, a faithful follower, and that's why Maitreya Muni is very pleased to impart Srimad Bhagavatam to him. So Guru's pleasure is when the disciple becomes Nityam Anuvrataya, always is wanting to follow the spiritual master's instructions. And he is so faithful. It's not that we'll follow only some 2-3 years and after that I can do whatever I want. Or it's not that I will follow only after 10 years. After that I will not follow. No, Nityam Manuvrataya. We should always remain a follower. This is how we can advance in spiritual life. In the outside world, they do not want to follow. They want to create followers. They do not want. But here, in Vaishnava, if you want to become a devotee of Krishna, then the whole life is we have to remain as a servant or as a follower. This is the training. Servant or a follower means he surrendered. The whole process is of surrenderance. How to surrender to Krishna? On a day-to-day basis, a devotee offers himself, he surrenders himself to Krishna, to the spiritual master. Increasingly, he wants to surrender himself. I am able to follow few instructions as of today. How I can follow more and more instructions today and tomorrow? Every day he wants to enhance the following or adherence of instructions of spiritual master. This is called surrender. Day-to-day basis we have to surrender. For example, it is raining now, not very pleasant. A devotee, in his mind, he doesn't develop some kind of a restlessness or why all these things. It is not at all good. No, he takes it as this is what God's wish is, Krishna's wish is. He surrenders. Surrenderance begins from accepting the current situation. Accept. Swallow. Now it is raining. Now let me decide what I should do. Continuously is not going to challenge why it is happening, why. When it will come down, when it will go, when. No. His consciousness is, he accepts, okay, there is a lot of rain now. What I should do so that I can increase my service to the spiritual master and Krishna. No, this is practical surrender. We accept. Because, this, who can change? Can you bring something else to stop all this? No, you cannot change. Maybe you can put on one sweater. If you want, you can put a topi. Carry one umbrella. Do the needful. Don't put too much emotions there. Something that you cannot control. Accept. Hare Krishna. Because of this environment, let us say my health got deteriorated. First of all, accept. Okay, this is what today. My life is. Now some favor is there. What should I do next? He is not going to develop a grudge. He is not going to, So this is practical surrender. We should not be in a state of denial, continuously denying. No, why is this, why is that? No, devotee means he understands, okay, today this is my situation, I accept it. First of all, accept. In the mind you say, I accept. That there is a lot of rain today. Accept. If you don't accept, continuously there is a resistance inside, then we will not feel satisfied. So similarly, sometimes some other people, outsiders or devotees, whoever, sometimes some behavior, we may not like it. Or we may feel little offended. Small things keep happening. Or sometimes they may not agree. There could be difference of opinion. They're all, inside, if you go on resisting and why this, why that, this is not good. No, just accept. This person is like this. This person is like this. And then decide what to do. Here the originator of the demoniac descendants, Pulastya, he got attracted to Parāśara. In fact, he blesses Parāśara. Why? Because Parāśara could forgive the offense that is been done by the demons. Otherwise, Parāśara is very powerful. He decided, now I am going to remove this demoniac species from this world. And he started one sacrifice. And the father of all these demons is Pulastya. He is anxiously waiting. What will happen? But Parāśara is very powerful. But Vasishtha Muni comes and says, no, don't do this. This is Lord's creation. Accept that there won't be demons like this. And then demons' nature is they will devour people. They will devour all living entities. Accept that the people are like this. They are also required. In the God's plan, there is a place for these demons also. So, you forgive them. Don't take this action. Immediately Parāśara stops that sacrifice because Vasishtha is a highly respected sage. He accepts that yes, demons are there, and then demons have devoured still he forgiven. Now this is an important quality. This is a quality of the Brahminical. Brahminical quality is that they forgive. They forgive. They accept, okay, this is what has happened. Maybe I deserve this. Maybe he is like that. Maybe this situation is like this. And then they forgive. In Kali Yuga, one of the predictions of Bhagavatam is that this forgiveness comes down. As the age progresses, people don't forgive. That means what? He continuously develops revenge feelings. What is the opposite of forgiveness? Revenge feeling. He starts developing revengeful, vengeance feeling. He has done this to me. This man is like this situation is like this. There is no use. Here Parāśara is also revengeful. My father was killed by these demons. I will kill all these demons. He was revengeful. But then, when Vasishtha advised, immediately he controlled his nature. He stopped his revengeful nature. He has forgiven. Generally, we may say that we are forgiven, but we don't forget. This is the difficulty. Say, yes, I have excused, but then we don't forget. That's why Prabhupada says, forgive and forget. He has added one more word, not just forgiveness, but to forgive and forget. Now, how will I forget? If you don't memorize, then you will forget. For example, every day we are reading Prabhupada books. Let us say, you have not memorized or you have not remembered. Again and again you have not remembered, recollected. All these things will help you in remembering, recollection, reviewing, memorizing day after day. All these things will help you to remember that. Now, but if you want to forget, then don't recollect, don't remember, don't allow that remembrance to come, don't review. Again and again we review and recollect, then we will not be able to forget. So, one is to forgive. Yes, I have excused. Similarly, the offender also should seek forgiveness. Prabhu, I am sorry, please forgive me. So, then if somebody is genuinely asking for forgiveness, and then the devotees, they're Brahmanical in nature, they'll also forgive and then forget also. That incident will no more control him. He is no more recollecting and reviewing. Has kept it aside. Over. So that's why day-to-day surrenderance means you should know that there are certain things that I cannot change. I should just accept. Forgive that difference. Forgive that anything that is not pleasing to you. If at all you get offended, remove all that negativity in the heart. Accept that this is what it is. Let us say you don't like some item, some prasadam, and that is coming 3 times a week, and you don't like that. Now internally dissatisfaction, resistance builds up. But Brahmanical means accept, forgive. Sometimes we think, why there are 3 items like this? First of all, you accept this is Krishna's mercy. So let me honor. Then one more temple. Why one more temple? Why this is here? Surrender means accept. A decision has been taken, one more temple. No problem. Otherwise, why one more? So we are not the controllers. So we feel we are controllers, and then we start challenging and resisting, questioning, and then all those things we'll do. Not required. Just happily you accept. Hari Bol, one more temple. Hari Hari Bol. This is life. Surrender means day to day. Nityam anuvrataya. You should know what is to be accepted. You have to surrender to Krishna's will. If Lord's will is that there has to be a temple in every village and town, it will come. Nobody can stop. And then, so we have to surrender to that. Yes, let me also become part of it. Let me become a follower. Shraddha lave, faith should be there. Krishna wants it, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants it, faith is there. So like that, if we become anuvrataya, a daily follower, day-to-day surrenderance is very important. It's not that we are waiting for some final surrender. Suddenly one day it will dawn on me. No, every day is an opportunity to surrender more. It's an opportunity. My Lord, today you have given me some little relief from my own sickness. Very nice. Let me utilize it for increasing the quality of my chanting, reading. And then let us say one day it is very bad. This is also Krishna's will. I have to learn something. There is something that is I need to improve. Ultimately, we should know that Krishna is very affectionate to his devotees. You should not have a picture that Krishna is like a dictator and is punishing and is no, that is not the form of Lord that we are worshipping. We are worshipping the most blissful, affectionate Lord. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, we are worshipping the most affectionate form. So one has to be confident that my current problems or the current challenges are not going to be permanent. Nothing is permanent. How my situation will be permanent? Nothing is permanent. So the current situation, whatever, is not going to be permanent. First of all, let me accept, yes, I am having this issue, I am having this problem, I am having this challenge. First of all, accept. And then start working on what I can do to change the course, to correct the course. So devotees like that, they surrender to Krishna's will on a day-to-day basis. They see Krishna on a day-to-day basis, and that's how we'll be able to improve our Bhagavatam's understanding. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700. హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700.